Hello everybody, welcome back to the Raspy Dispatcher. My name is Ashley, and this video series is all about 911 education, 911 preparedness, and knowledge regarding having to make 911 calls in emergency situations. It is my hope that you never have to call 911, but in case you do, I hope that these videos can help to feel confident and knowledgeable if you and or a loved one ever has to dial 911. It is my hope that you never have to dial 911, but if you do, I want you and your loved ones to be knowledgeable and prepared to assist that dispatcher in answering their questions so they're able to send you the proper help as quickly as possible. Now parents, you have a tough job. Like a dispatcher who is the first point of contact with a citizen calling for 911 help, you are that first line of contact with your children, and you are best equipped to provide them with the tools on how to dial 911 in case of emergency. So this video is all about giving you that information, giving you some tools so you guys can have a conversation with your kids if ever they have to use 911 to get to emergency services. So what is 911 and why is it important to teach children how to utilize it correctly? 911 is the number that is dialed here in the States in order to reach emergency response services, including police, fire, and medical personnel. You dial 911 on any cell phone. That call gets transferred to a dedicated phone line where people are trained to answer those incoming 911 calls. Those people are known as dispatchers, like me. Now remember, 911 should only be utilized in emergency life and death situations. And how to determine what an emergency situation is asking yourself some very simple questions. Is this something that is requiring an immediate response from the police department, from the fire department, or from medical services? Now, if you're not quite sure if what you're calling about classifies as an emergency, that's okay. Call 911 and that dispatch will help sort that out for you and get you to a non-emergency line if your call in fact does not meet emergency criteria. We would rather you dial 911 and it not be an emergency and us help educate and get you over to the right reporting line, rather than you utilize a non-emergency number and it is in fact an emergency and we lose time and tools that we have available through 911 technology to assist you. A lot of times at work I do answer 911, what's your emergency? And a caller on the other line will say things like, it's not an emergency, but it's very important that we call 911 for emergency situations only, simply because we don't want to tie up a 911 line, especially on a day where it's very, very busy, for someone who is actually having a life or death emergency. So situations you don't want to use 911 for is asking for information, asking for directions, any directory assistance, phone numbers, addresses, things like that, paying tickets, anything regarding your pet, and of course prank calls. All these type of things tie up those lines and make it hard for people with emergencies to get through to someone who can help them. So I definitely encourage you and your family to look up your local agency's non-emergency 7-digit phone number. Put that in your phone in case there is something going on that you do believe that needs to be reported but isn't necessarily something that should be reported on 911. You have easy access to the number in your phone book rather than having to go Google it at the time of you wanting to report it. And of course, if you call 911 and it is a mistake, stay on the line. Please stay on the line. That is if you hang up, we have to call back. We have to send officers out to that area to make sure no one is needing police assistance and was just unable to get through on the phone. So it's very important. You're not in trouble. Accidents happen. We love technology and we hate it at the same time. We do get a lot of butt dials. We do talk to a lot of Apple Watches. So we understand accidents happen. It's very helpful. Just stay on the line. Let us know everything's okay and it was a missed dial so we can cancel the call and allocate those resources somewhere else that would have been sent to go make sure everything's okay. So how do you call 911? It's very simple. On any type of phone, you dial 911. Home phones, cell phones. This also includes phones that are no longer in service. So that old Nokia phone that still works, but it doesn't have a cell phone plan, those can still make 911 calls. So be aware when you're giving these things to your children to play with that it's very possible they could call us. And with those service phones that don't have service on them, we cannot call them back. We are only allowed to make an outgoing call. So we cannot call back if you hang up to make sure everything is okay. So just stay on the line. Let us know it's okay. We do appreciate that. Now, after you dial 911, a dispatcher like myself will answer the phone. They will begin to ask a series of questions. It's very important that you allow the dispatcher to direct the call because we are trained to ask questions in a certain order, in a certain way, to streamline the process, to make help come to you quicker. If you just start kind of telling the dispatcher what you believe they need to hear, it could slow down the process. The dispatcher's questions don't slow down the process because it's a streamlined, taught manner in which they are asking these questions in order to best assist you. Once the dispatcher gets through their questions, they're going to allow you to kind of go into the extra details that you believe are to be very important, and they'll relay that information while the assistance is driving your way. What if I or my child do not speak English? Can we still call 911? Yes, you can still call 911. We have translator services available for any caller in any language, so we can assist them. But I do stress that it is important to be able to communicate that address that you need assistance at and the nature of your emergency. A lot of times I'll get someone who asks for a translator. Before I grab my translator, I'll try to get an address and to know if they need police, fire, or medical. If they're able to give me those two things, it really streamlines the process. So, for example, if they need medical and they're not really able to tell me their address or that they need medical, I have to wait for the translator. The translator then asks them the question, and then I have to hang up with them and transfer them to medical, and they have to go through that process again. It's not always feasible. Not everyone can always communicate where they are and what they need without that translator. Totally understandable. That's why we do have the services. If and when possible, being able to tell us that address and that need of those one or three services helps streamline the process. But if you do need a translator, we do have them available. Don't hesitate to call 911 and ask for that translator if you do need one. So for hearing or speech impaired individuals, Text to 911 is a new service that is being offered more and more places. We want to make sure that it is being offered by your local agency by calling them on their non-emergency or looking it up online to see if Text to 911 is available in your area. This is used in the same format as a 911 call. That means instead of texting your best friend, you text 911, tell them the location of the emergency, and answer the dispatcher's questions. Dispatch centers also have access to TTY and TDD services on our computers. So if you do have that in your home and on your phones, that is another service that is offered and dispatchers are trained to utilize as well. So that was a lot of information. But hey, the purpose here is to be able to give you all the information that you may need and facilitate a conversation between you and your children in order to prepare them just in case they have to call 911. We understand as dispatchers when we hear a juvenile on the other end of the phone that we have to change our tactics. We have to be a little softer, and we want to do everything we can to assist them in this probably very scary time where they're having to call us. So that is why I created this handout for you guys, just to go over with your kids with the basic information that helps us get calls rolling and help in the right direction. I think it's important for the kids to know their address and their phone number, their parents' address, their parents' names, their phone numbers, and if feasible, a friend or a neighbor's name and their phone numbers. And I created this handout for you guys to talk through when talking about 911. Write this information down and make it readily available and accessible in your home, wherever it makes sense for you guys, whether it is on the fridge, by a home phone, where the cell phones are all charging, wherever it's feasible and can be easily accessed during high stress situations. So the purpose here is to provide tools and information in order to facilitate a conversation between you, your loved ones, your children, so they have the knowledge and the information in case they ever have to call 911 during an emergency. Unfortunately, children do call 911 for many reasons, and if they have the knowledge of the address and contact phone numbers of parents, loved ones, family, friends, it could really assist responding officers, responding paramedics, responding first responders, and of course the dispatcher in assisting your child through a scary situation. So I do encourage you guys to take a look at this handout I created. The link is going to be in the information section of this video. It's a free download. Print it out, write in the information with your child, show them where you're going to keep it just in case they ever have to dial 911. My name's Ashley. This is the Raspy Dispatcher. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Thank you so much for tuning in. And stay raspy, everybody.